sounds of fireworks and saying Happy New Year is a familiar one heard around the world. But on our small island nation of Aruba, there is something else you will hear when closing and opening the new year, and that is Dande.
By singing this particular musical tradition, it's very traditional in Aruba. Locals cannot imagine to end or close the old year and open the new year without this song.
Let's hear it.
I know be o dande ta promediani wari. I know be o dande biba no saruba. I know be o dande biba no scultura. I know be o dande biba dushi dande. I know be o dande.
Ejin's impromptu rendition of Dande you just heard was pretty good, right? You were probably thinking it was actually superb, considering this was done in his living room in the spur of the moment. Well, Ejin is not only a professional singer, but he is also one of the kings of Dande. He's competed in many Dande festivals since the age of 21.
In 2013, I was crowned the King of Kings of Dande, and I remained the King of Kings for about 10 years. And for me, it was a big honor.
If you were to look online about the origin of Dande in Aruba, you'd find that it was born around 1880 after King Willem II liberated the slaves. The liberated slaves then started playing the tambu and visited Aruban homes to wish them a prosperous new year. Online sources may say that Dande is unique to Aruba since there's no other island in the Caribbean that has a Dande tradition. But this info may be debunked.
With this whole rediscovering our own history, we have discovered evidence that it didn't only live in Aruba, it also lived in Curacao. There is evidence of that, there are recordings of that, and that's what really triggered me as a Dande singer and as a history lover to go on my own search to see where this really came from. However, it is evident that this has really African roots. It has African heritage.
What we do know for sure is that on this island, the community of Aruba won't be closing the new year and opening a new one without singing or listening to some Dande. A question for you now. What do you notice in all these clips of Ejin singing Dande? In this clip, and in this clip, and even this clip. He is never without a hat.
The singer always is carrying a hat or wearing a hat, and then when the singer starts singing, he or she takes off his or her hat and starts singing for the family as a token of respect. But then it has also become a tradition that the ones who are being sung for give something in the hat. So it used to be a button or some pastry, but now it's money.
So if you come across a Dande singer, make sure to drop some fortune in the hat. Ejin is born and raised in Aruba. He started singing Dande with kids in his neighborhood at the age of 10. So what does Dande mean to him?
I could never find a word to describe what it means to me. I know how it feels when I listen to it. I cannot imagine the end of the year without listening to this song, but it stirs nostalgia, it stirs happiness, it stirs inspiration for me. It motivates me to start the new year in a great way. It instills in me all the good things that should be felt by a human being in the new year.
The musical tradition of Dande is part of Aruba's identity. Naturally, it is important to keep this unique tradition alive.
And the Dande being one of the most authentic Aruban things, even though that it really has its African heritage, but then also that's what makes Aruba Aruba and Curacao and Bonaire. It is part of our history. We should really embrace that even more, be curious about the historic value of it, but again, because it gives us a sense of community and a sense of identity and even a sense of pride, that should be one of the reasons.
With the age of TikTok and all sorts of cool and new music genres, it does seem keeping Dande alive may be a challenge, but Ejin would encourage the youth to incorporate their own creativity and adapt the existing version of Dande.
I personally believe that we should allow the new generation to be creative and innovative with the Dande. Because a lot of the youngsters would say, I think it's boring, or I don't think it's hip. Well, give them the chance then to make it hip, or to make it feel less boring. So let them be creative, let them be innovative. However, within the educational system, let them be aware, let them know the tradition of it, the basics of it. And that's one of the ways I think we could preserve the Dande for many generations.
O Dande biba bibe dushi Dande, I know be. O Dande biba bibe I know bo.